Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey
Uh,
everyone.
welcome to another episode of Did You Max Jump with Sandy and CMoore. And we have 7 questions for a very special guest today. So we'll always start off with the first question. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Maddison McKibbin, professional beach volleyball player on the AVP, beard bro number 2, not by choice. And that's about it. My brother and I run a YouTube channel. We make volleyball videos, and that's the short form of who I am.
Okay, so you kind of alluded to you're the one of two Beard brothers. So who is older? And
Okay.
then a follow-up question, or I'll say who is the oldest sibling of your family? And then who is the favorite?
Who's the favorite? That's easy. So Riley's 2 years older than me. We play together on the beach, and then we have a younger brother, Jameson, who is, I think, 20 years old. So he's 9 years younger than me, 11 years younger than Riley, and he's by far and away the favorite. So it makes it easy,
Oh man, that's quick.
clean and simple. But we
Hands down.
love him.
All right. So
Seymour, what happened to you? You froze.
Okay.
you grew up playing volleyball in Hawaii
Yeah.
on a baby court.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You're good, Seymour. I can
My
You're
say
good.
connection.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So grew up on an outrigger court in Hawaii, playing on a baby court with 5 current AVP players.
Yeah.
So how good was the volleyball in your high schools then? Were you guys all at the same high school? Did you guys win every championship forever, or?
Okay, so here's the whole breakdown. So the baby court, for people who are listening, was at the Outrigger Canoe Club. Shorter court, shorter net. It's basically like our daycare. All of our parents were paddlers, surfers, or volleyball players. So all of those players that you kind of referenced, I'll tell you their names, we were all kind of dropped off there. And it wasn't only just those 5 AVP players. You had guys who were All-Americans in college. You actually had 3 of those guys are on the indoor national team too. So you have Kavika Shoji, Eric Shoji, and Micah Christensen.
Wow.
So the AVP players you're referencing are my brother and I, Tri Bourne, Taylor Crabb, and Trevor Crabb. And, you know, guys that you're missing are Spencer McLaughlin, who's an assistant coach at UCLA, who is, I want to say, who was an All-American at Stanford. You had Brad Lawson, who was an All-American at Stanford too. He doesn't play anymore, but he was probably one of the best guys. Reese Hain, who's Clay Stanley's little brother. Who else? So you have a long list of guys. So you asked about how that broke down into high school. So out of the 5 AVP players, Riley and I went to Punahou. Taylor went to Punahou. Trevor Crabb went to Punahou. But Trevor didn't play that much high school volleyball. He didn't play that much club either. I think he only played club, actually. Trevor's plan was to go to the NBA. And for people who don't know, Trevor Crabb, one of the top guys on the AVP, he went to college to go play basketball, I think in Oregon at Puget Sound or something around there. And after 2 years, he transferred to Long Beach State and got back into volleyball. And he was never the most dynamic indoor player. And he was one of the first guys to kind of go on the beach, actually after Tri, and just kind of came into his zone. So our high school team was made up of those 4 guys. And then you add Eric Shoji, who's the national team libero. And then on the flip side, we had really strong competition. Micah Christensen, starting setter on the national team, he went to Kamehameha. And he was, I think, a freshman when I was a senior, I want to say. And he was kind of like their stud. He set, he hit, he did everything. And so our team was pretty gnarly. We had another outside hitter, Josh Taylor, who was an All-American at Pepperdine. Henry Cassidy, who was a libero at SC with me. I think he was an All-American too. God, I feel bad just name dropping this, but I guess people like to hear it. So our battles were gnarly. Kavika Shoji and Brad Lawson went to Iolani. So you kind of had these 3 major high schools. And then Tri Bourne, he played for AOP as well as a kid named Nick Costello, who set and played libero at UH. So we definitely had the most amount of guys, but we didn't win every national or state championship. Brad Lawson, him and his team actually beat us my junior year, Eric Shoji's senior year. It was like me and Eric setting, Taylor out outside. Like we had a gnarly team, but Brad Lawson just took over.
That's incredible. Like sounds like a volleyball factory there for you guys.
I mean, it was. That's where, that's our generation. But then you have the older generation, Stein Metzger, Mike Lambert, the Wong brothers, Sean Scott, all guys who kind of played and grew up at the Outrigger. And it's just, I think I always say this, like when you're able to play volleyball at a young age on a net that's lower, on a court that's shorter, rather than an 8-foot net in a big court where the only kills you get are like a bump over and there's miscommunication. You don't get that glory. You don't get that like big block. And so for us, it's like growing up playing basketball on like a 5-foot hoop. Like you could emulate LeBron James dunking because you could do it. So with a lower net, we could block. We could like bounce balls. You felt way more legit as a volleyball player at that age than you would playing on a regular size net.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you do feel good finishing the playoff rather than a team making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's way more rewarding.
Yeah.
So after high school volleyball, where did you move on to?
After high school volleyball, I went to USC, joined my brother there. And I played a little bit of libero my freshman year, rather as a starting setter. And then ended up playing a little bit of outside and a little bit of opposite. Spent 4 years there. I got injured my senior year and redshirted with a shin fracture, just a fracture in my shin. And I ended up redshirting that year and staying a 5th year playing. So, yeah.
Sweet. And then after that, you migrated to the beach eventually?
After that, I did a quick stint in Greece playing indoor. Really long story. Didn't work out. Riley and I played on the same team for a little bit. But then Riley got a better contract to go back to Italy and play, where he played 3 years there at A1. And I moved in with him for a few months and just kicked it. And then after that, we both came back and started playing on the beach.
Awesome. So we had the McNamaras on.
Okay.
And they are going to hate the fact that I said the McNamaras or the twins because they're trying to become their own entities. So they've changed their name on the World Tour now. They're Megan and Nicole.
Okay.
So have you guys thought about not going McKibbin and going to Maddison and Riley like you're Brazilian?
Oh, changing the name on our shorts?
Yeah. Like going Brazilian style, first names only.
No, that's never really no, I've never really thought about that. Smart move by them. I think they're great at branding themselves. They're doing a great job. But no, it never really crossed my mind. It's a lot easier to if I'm missing my board shorts, I can just snag a pair of his and he has no idea. It just says McKibbin on it. We don't even put the R's or the M's on. So I'm like, are those mine? So I don't know how many board shorts he's taken from me, but I know I've taken some from him. So it's easy.
So that actually leads to this then. When did you guys decide to become a brand and be like the McKibbins?
So, okay, when did we decide?
And how did it become that as well? Like when?
Yeah. So people always ask us about the beards. And so the beard started in Greece. We always had to shave at SC. So I wanted to grow mine out. Riley was growing his out. And we were there for over a year. And so we came back. I have no idea why I kept the beard. It definitely didn't do me any favors dating. But we kept them and, for some strange reason, and we just kept playing. And, our first tournament that we played in was New York. First tournament, we were seated like 35th or something. And we ended up qualifying. And we played Casey Patterson, Jake Gibb in the first round. And we were up like 2019 or 2018 in the first. I ended up choking because I was like so nervous. But I think that's where it kind of started. Oh, and then we ended up getting knocked out of that tournament. And the AVP was putting on an exhibition match before the men's finals with a Japanese player named Koichi. And he was going to play with Jeremy Casepier. So they asked if anyone wanted to play. We're like, we'll play. And so we played in that. We made a little bit of a circus. And that's kind of when like people were chanting like the beard says no or something like that. We're like, well, might as well just roll with this. And so it wasn't like a conscious decision like, oh, we'll make a brand out of being bearded brothers. And, I think to have something that separates you and beach volleyball definitely helps. But I think what really launched us was starting to make videos on YouTube and trying to make tutorials just to give back and see what people thought.
Hmm.
Nice.
Speaking of your beards, are you guys a part of any sort of a beard club or beard society?
No, we're not. I should probably look into that, but I don't take care of my beard as much as I should. I mean, I haven't trimmed it since this quarantine. I need it trimmed, but no, I'm not looking for any more social clubs for beard.
So I did do some like digging because I wanted to check. And your brother is 20, by the way, because I did look up.
Okay, he
Jameson,
is 20.
I didn't want to screw it up and say he played at the wrong school or something. So I did notice though in his most current USC photo, he's got like a little bit of stubble happening. Like he's trying to grow like a little baby beard. Is this?
I mean, he does whatever he wants. There was a point where he was trying to grow it out, and it looked absolutely terrible. And it was just so bad. I was like, dude, you gotta take that off. You gotta shave it off. So I think he's been keeping like a little bit of stubble. I think it looks good. Makes him look a little bit older. But he's a long ways away. And I don't really wish this upon my worst enemies, honestly, let alone my little brother.
So last summer, you guys came to Vancouver and played the Van Open. How did you end up making your way to British Columbia to play that, and what'd you guys think about it?
So we got contacted by Chris, right? Chris, yeah. I'm sorry, Chris. I apologize for forgetting. It's been a while, but Chris hit us up and asked us if we'd be interested in coming, and we had always heard about the Van Open, and we even asked someone like, dude, what is it all about? Like, dude, you're gonna love it. So we came to Vancouver and played in the Van Open, and it was probably by far one of the best tournaments I've ever been to. And we've been to a lot. You know, after the Van Open, we went to the Maldives, we went to Thailand, a few other places. And the Van Open was, okay, in my opinion, it was one of the most proud video. I was the most proud of the video we made from the Van Open because of, you know, all the characters that were there, all the people. You know, it was just such a special place, and the competition was pretty second to none. Like that was like top qualifier, like bottom main draw. Obviously, like there were some Olympic teams there, so I can't really say bottom main draw, but it was like really competitive. We ended up playing a Czech team that was on their way to playing a 3-star in Edmonton. So we got knocked out by them. Very definitely underestimated them. Smaller team, but crafty. They were good, and so they knocked us out pretty early. But it was kind of bittersweet because we got to enjoy ourselves there, which was a damn fun time.
You got to participate in the Sunday tradition of the beer garden.
The Sunday tradition of the beer garden. Yeah.
So because all of the children that Sandy and I coach are going to watch this, we always ask this question. So you show up at the Van Open and then you meet a couple Muppets there named Sandy and CMoore. And what was your first thoughts of us when you met us, talked to us?
So first thoughts were, okay, Riley and I were kind of going into this whole thing, like we want to make a better video than we've ever made. And so to kind of like see this whole picture and like who we could interview and ask for like context and history. And we met you guys, and the first thing that popped in my head was, we need to get these guys on camera. We need to. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to use you guys, put you on camera, but you guys, how friendly you were, how gracious you were. I mean, we met you guys immediately, and I felt like we had been friends for a really long time. And so to meet you guys right off the bat, and meeting Chris was just like, wow, I don't know, I've never felt so comfortable with people immediately meeting them. And so that was really the start of us having such a great time there. I mean, it was you guys, it was everyone there that was there for a good time, there to, you know, include everyone and show everyone what this whole tournament is about. And I absolutely loved it. You guys were the best.
Awesome.
That's a very flattering answer.
That's why I'm here now. I came calling to you guys, say, hey, I want to be on your show.
So I'm going to clip that. That's the only thing that's going to be posted. Just going to clip that right there. So one more question for me. So now we're kind of in our lockdown quarantine. but definitely a lot of girls we coach, they love your YouTube channel. They love all the things. Like, what is next? Like, what is the plan next for you guys? Are you staying internationally? Are you staying AVP? You going to go internationally? Like, what's the plan for the brand, the volleyball, the McKibbins in general?
Okay. Well, there's something I can't say, but
Okay.
What's next for us? Well, okay. So I will say one thing. One thing that we're working on right now. Are you talking about videos or playing?
Yeah.
Both. All
Okay.
of them.
So with videos right now, we're kind of at a standstill. There's been so many home workout videos made and drills made. It's kind of like oversaturated. So we're not sure if we're going to make anything like that. I've been kind of hunkered down right now because with editing, because we're working with Wilson Volleyball we took over their AVP Media Day. This is separate from the AVP doing it. We had our own booth. And so we interviewed, I want to say 20 players. We have 30 hours of interview footage. And the reason why we wanted to do it is because we've always been asked the standard questions as volleyball players, like, when did you start playing? And we always felt there's so much more to these players that people don't know. And so right now I'm in the midst of cutting up a lot of footage and using B-roll from the 2019 season to kind of show who these players are a little bit more. So people listening, follow Wilson Volleyball. If you don't, that's where some of the stuff's going to be coming out. Short little Instagram videos, but that's what I've been working on. Riley's been working on the videos for our channel. I think we did a critique the game, or Riley called it critique your enemy, but Jeremy Casepier walked us. We kind of went through our match together. Yeah. So I think we might be doing that again.
Cool.
We have some other footage saved up, but I think we probably will get to some at-home tutorials and workout stuff. But this Wilson project's been taking up a lot of our time. And so playing-wise, that everyone's at a standstill. The AVP is kind of week to week. The most recent update is they canceled the first two events. They're moving New York to late June, but anything could happen. One cool thing that they're doing though is that instead of moving the prize money from those two tournaments over, they're trying to figure out a way to pay the players. So I give them so much respect for doing that, because they really didn't have to do that. We're independent contractors. We're not, so that's kind of where we're at there. In terms of internationally, I mean, we get, anytime anyone asks us to go somewhere, like, we're in, we'll show up, we'll play. And it's led to some great times, some great experiences. And I also think we'll probably be putting on another 4-man in the near future.
Sweet.
That's the plan.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's funny when you asked that question, you drifted off into space, and kind of looked like me when people ask me that. What's my plan for the future? And it looked like I'm just living day by day right now.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the project we're doing with Wilson is, I don't know, we both really want to do a good time, or a really good job of it, because it's kind of the first time that we've been commissioned to do something like this, and it's something we know really well. We know the players extremely well, and the answers we've gotten from players is, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit too close to it, but I'm like dying laughing most of the answers we get. So I'm mainly focusing on the Wilson advisory staff, which is Casey Patterson, Kelly Reeves, Sarah Sponsel, Riley and I, Stafford Slick, and Tri Bourne, and Irene Pollock. But then I have, Jake Gibb, Taylor Crabb, Trevor Crabb, and the answers are just, I think they're golden. So just figure out a way to edit it in a entertaining way, so it's not just a talking head.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I know that's a little bit too much for your viewers, but
it's all right. We can edit too. So last kind of thing here, I like you said, you felt very welcomed, and I felt very welcomed by you when I went to Hermosa Beach. I met you, invited me into your parents' patio for beer, which I appreciate very much. And I found you guys to be unbelievably friendly, not just to someone like me, I'll call me or call myself your peer, but to the youth. And when some of the athletes I had in California with me found out that I knew you or whatever and knew where you lived, and they were almost scared to come with me to come say hi to you guys. And then, when they did, they were blown away. They were just so excited to meet you and your brother. And so I said thank you. I'll say thank you again for being
of course,
such good ambassadors of the game and such great people.
Thanks, man.
It's
I
very
appreciate it.
appreciated. And I know our many youth players look up to you guys. So
Thanks. No, I think if there's anything to take away from it is, when I was growing up, I idolized all these guys. Watching Jake play, Casey Patterson, Sean Rosenthal, and like, it's funny to look back on it. We idolize these guys, and to call them friends and on a one name basis and text them and call them, like, could you ever? I could never imagine that in my wildest dreams. Like watching Jake and Rosie play in, what was it, 2008 Olympics, and now being able to practice with them and hang out with them. It's like, I don't know. It's a very cool experience. So I think I always keep that in the back of my mind because it was so cool for me to have that time. And I think anyone who's in a position like ours or play on the national tour, like, I don't know. I know how much it means to some players. So even if you have that effect with just one of the kids that you brought by, it's worth it.
well, I mean,
Sweet.
once again, Madison, thank you very much.
Dude, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.